What is up guys, Newlimits here, and I'm back again with what is going to be the last Necromancer leveling guide for this season. In this video we are using the Nayr'S Black Death, and then we have covered all the two-handed sights on the channel. We managed to get a 46-minute rundown, but I am confident you can get faster runs. I definitely made some mistakes here and there, but I'll talk about all of those in the walkthrough. A like is highly appreciated as they do help me out a ton, and subscribe if you haven't already. Let me walk you through the gameplay. Alright, so we are going to create a character. I always go for the female Necromancer because I just like it a little bit more. Don't forget to equip the wings and the pets. The pet is for the gold pickup and the wings is just for style points. A lot of people have been asking me that actually, like why the wings? It's just for style points really. Doesn't do anything. You're gonna start the game on Torment 1. In Season 22, I might actually say you should start on Torment 3 maybe, because of the Shadow Clones. You might get some shrines when you are running to the Runes of Secheron, that would be really nice. Don't forget to do the Challenge Rift back, do the Challenge Rift first to get the Challenge Rift bag. You're gonna spend your shards at Kadala. You could also do that once you get the cube at Secheron. You are then going to go to the merchants and purchase items, so just your gear, because they always have some better gear that you can use right away and it's really helpful. Gives you that initial boost of damage. I take the followers' weapons as well, and I always check if the dagger from the enchantress is better than the templars. Then we are going to create a two-handed axe. A level 70 two-handed axe of course, and we are going to try to roll level requirement reduction on it. So of course you want to have that 30. And make sure when you are doing that, that you also check if you have percent chance on it. So as you could have seen, we had percent chance on hit on the secondary roll. You really want to have that, so your chance is way higher to get the level reduced requirement. We're gonna roll again, so you see chance to knock back on hit. We got the level reduced by 20. I would say everything above 20 is good, 20 being the worst of course. So we are not really lucky here, but this is a simulation on how a season would actually look like. So I'm not really trying here to get a perfectly rolled, because then, you know, I might actually show off different things too. You might not get as lucky. So I want to make this as realistically as I possibly can. Then we're gonna create a axe and a dagger that's gonna help us out with some damage in the Runes of Secheron when we get the cube. And then we are just gonna create the two-handed axes. So these are just gonna help us with the leveling process as well. Just make sure that you are not using all your veiled crystals. You can always convert your veiled crystals at the cube if you run out of them, because the veiled crystals are like the materials that you might actually run out of. What you could also do is craft the two-handed scythe first, craft the two-handed axe with the level reduced requirement, go get the cube first at the Runes of Secheron. When you get the cube, you go back, you upgrade the scythe because that will also cost you 50 veiled crystals. You get the scythe, you extract the legendary power, and then you go and purchase or craft the two-handed axes that you need until you get to the level requirement of your level 70 weapon. So that is maybe a safer option that you might want to opt into. And this is the reason why you want to start on Torment 3 maybe, because we get a shrine right away. This depends highly on luck. Sometimes you get it right away, sometimes you get it in the middle of the run or almost at the end, and then it's, you know, kind of useless. Torment 3 will be pretty difficult at that point. But if you get lucky, you get a Shadow Clone right away, then Torment 3 would be easily done. I mean, you could do it on Torment 6 as well, but I mean, you could start on Torment 6 if you want to and just see if you get a shrine right away. You can easily drop it if you're not playing hardcore. Of course, for hardcore, don't do it. But you can drop it easily if you don't find a shrine right away. You can just drop it to Torment 1, Torment 2. That makes it just a little bit faster. So we are focusing here on our massacre bonus. Don't forget to use your axe and your dagger once you hit those level thresholds. Now for the people that have already seen my other guides, this is gonna be a little bit of a repeat on the things that I've already said. This is gonna be the last one, so we've done this about 5 times now, I think, right? I did a 50-minute run, I did a 44, a 46, a 50, and a 39. So this is gonna be the last one, the Nayr'S. So if you get the Nayr'S, it's a little bit weird because your damage multiplier is pretty strong, but it is a lot of micromanagement, and it's a pretty difficult build to play. So it's definitely the least lazy build. Like for example, the Maltoria's Petrified Spike, it's pretty lazy, you're just throwing spears around. Relina Shadowhook, I mean, you're basically playing the same way, you're just using your Corpse Explosion to deal the most of your damage. Blood Nova, you're just, you know, with the Blood Tide Blade, you're just using your Blood Nova. But with the Nayr'S, you really have to micromanage your stacks, make sure that you have 4 or 5 stacks available. You constantly have to keep those stacks up. It's a little bit more difficult. So here we're going back at the Elder Sanctum. I just really like to do that because you can buy rings and amulets once you are level 10. So you really want to make sure that you make use of that. You want to go back and you want to be in a town where you haven't been yet. So if, for example, you would start in Act 3 at level 1, so you just start a game and you start in town in Act 3. You cannot purchase rings or amulets there even when you're level 7 or when you're level 10. You need to go to a different town where you haven't been, so Act 1, for example, or Act 2 or Act 5, and there you can purchase rings and amulets and better gear. So this is what you really want to do. It's going to give you a lot of extra damage. It's going to be very useful for you. Don't forget to get your passive, get your skills. Those are really important. So there you could actually choose both. Fueled by Death is also really nice. Both those passives are actually pretty good. So you're just gonna purchase your stuff. And then we're just gonna keep on going. We're gonna focus here on a Massacre bonus. This zone can be absolutely incredible for the Massacre bonus. So you really want to make sure that you have the damage for it. So I always use my command skeletons on the Rat King. At a certain threshold, they drop little rats. And because you put the command skeletons on them, they just drop the rats just a little bit faster, so you can kill them. You can start exploding them with your Corpse Explosion. So that's just really, really nice. Here I just get really unlucky. I have to drop my Massacre bonus twice because there's just nobody around. So maybe I should have kited them a little bit better to make sure that I could use the Massacre bonus. Like sometimes you really have to drag around enemies to try and keep that Massacre bonus up. Here it's probably more worth it to just go around. You really never want to focus elites. It's really not worth it. They die way too slow and they also give you pretty little XP, so it's really not worth to kill them. But I was too lazy to go around, so I end up actually trying to drag him around a little bit to kill him. And I actually dropped my Massacre bonus because of that. So that's actually really annoying. I probably should have just tried to keep walking forward, but I'm not sure if that would have worked actually. I think this is probably the worst run that I have done with my Massacre bonus. Like, I drop this one very often. But normally you would still be able to manage to hit level 16, which is, you know, the most important part. Generally you're gonna use the Grasp of Essence with your blood shards. And once you have the Grasp of Essence, you can use them at level 16, so that's why you want to be level 16, and it is just beautifully convenient that you pretty much always are at least level 16 when you have the cube. Sometimes, if you are lucky, you can get a cursed chest spawn here. That would actually be really helpful right now, but we don't get it, unfortunately. I do believe with the Nayr'S I have a 46-minute run here, but I do believe you can do it faster, actually. So if you can keep your massacre bonus up here a little bit better, if you get a level reduced requirement level that is not 20, but you know, higher than that, it's also gonna be a few minutes faster. So I do believe this is a pretty average run. But that is not the point of these videos. If that was the point, then I would just really try to get the best weapons possible. But I just want to keep it as realistic as I can. So what we're doing here now is once we get the cube, we want to restart the game at Torment 6. Like always, you're going to purchase rings and amulets. And I actually think I might have forgotten to purchase rings and amulets the first time. So definitely don't do that one. So you definitely want to purchase them because they're gonna help you have more damage. Right, so then we're gonna use our two-handed scythe. We're going to upgrade it. We are using the Nayr'S, so it didn't really matter what we would get. But of course the Blood-Tide Blade would be absolutely amazing. Like if I get that in Season 22, I would be like incredibly happy. That is just the easiest way to get to level 70, it's just so amazing. But we're going with Nayr'S. So what Nayr'S basically does is it gives you 100% increased damage every time you use a poison ability for 15 seconds. So you want to have as much poison skills available as you can to stack up as much damage as you can. So for example, we are using the our auto attack, the Bone Pillar. You want that to hit for 1 stack. Then you have the Bone Spear, it hits for a 2nd stack, so 200%. You then use your Blood Nova. The normal rune for it, or the normal skill without any runes, is Poison, so that is very helpful. So that is the 3rd stack, and we are using the Skeletal Mage Contagious, I believe it is called, for the 4th stack. And then of course, we are using the Exploding Corpses. You want to go as fast as you can for the Poison Rune on that one, but at the moment we can't use that because you only get it at level 29, I believe. So we can't have that one yet. But as you can see, 4 stacks, we are dealing some decent damage. And your Corpse Explosion with the Grasp of Essence is still gonna hurt a lot. Now I have tried it, if Pox Faults, the poison damage actually works for your Nayr'S, but it does not. It really only works with the skills that you are using. So that would have been really nice. I tested it out, but it actually didn't work. So what we are basically doing here is your main damage is the Bone Spear. So you want to throw that one out at the last so that you have 4 stacks when you are using your Bone Spears. You're just going to use your auto attack, the Bone Pillar, for your 1st stack. You're going to use the Blood Nova for your 2nd stack. Then you're going to use your Skeletal Mage to get your 3rd. And once you get your 4th stack, the Bone Spear, you are going to try to hit as many enemies as you can. Because what the Bone Spear does and the Poison Rune makes it so that every enemy that you hit, it deals 15% more damage to the next enemy it hits. So let's say for example you hit 10 enemies, you will deal 150% more damage. So you want to hit as much enemies as you can with 1 Bone Spear so you deal the maximum amount of damage to the last person. with your Nayr'S stacks, so that means like 400 or 500% increased damage. Your bone spear will actually deal a lot of damage. It will leave a corpse behind, and that corpse you want to use for exploding that corpse, of course, with your Grasp of Essence, which is gonna be a huge damage dealer. Now don't forget, once you have the poison rune on the corpse explosion, that makes it so that your corpse explosion deals more damage with your Grasp of Essence, so it stacks 5 times, dealing 150 to 200% more damage. So that is 5 times 200, potentially, if you get the best rolls, of course. And then you will deal 4 to 500% more damage because of your Nayr'S stack. So it's a little bit of an overkill, to be honest, with the damage, so you can still go for Bloody Mess. You don't actually have to go for the Poison Rune. I just really like to go it because at the end, once you're getting to the like 60s, your damage starts falling off quite a bit. And that's why I like to go for the Poison Rune. Now, somebody that actually gave me the advice, and that is actually a really important one, is when you did the Cursed Chest event, I often don't actually pick it up. And here I make the exact same mistake, to not go back to the Cursed Chest and to actually check what what's inside of them. Why I don't do this is because I always want to keep my Massacre bonus up, so you want to make sure that you keep that one up all the time, and going for the Cursed Chest or any items that drop is not worth it if you would lose your Massacre bonus for that. On the other hand, here I cleared the Cursed Chest, I went further, I died, and I based. So I went back to town. What I should have done is I should have gone to the Cursed Chest first, I should have opened them. There might have been a legendary inside them, but because we are playing on Torment 6, so your loot chances are pretty high to get legendaries, to get some really nice items. Maybe you would get a ruby gem that you can use for experience or in your weapon. So I think that is definitely a mistake, and somebody mentioned that in the comments, so thank you for that. That was actually really good advice, because I didn't notice that I was actually doing that. But you really want to make sure that you go to those Cursed Chests once your Massacre bonus falls off or you die, to get those items. That's really important. Of course, if your Massacre bonus is still going up and you're like 3 or 4 rooms further, don't backtrack all the way back to the chests once your Massacre bonus is done, because that is no longer worth it. So you're gonna have to kind of figure out like, okay, it's not that far, I can go back. So what we're doing here is, again, you want to purchase at the merchants. Always really important to get to make sure that your gear is about the same level as you are, otherwise you're just going to die instantly. Here I just misclicked it. I guess it's just a habit to always go to the Runes of Sescheron. I've done these runs a lot of times now. I've been doing a lot of testing, so I guess that was just a little bit of a habit there. So what you want to do here is line everything up as much as you can. You see there's a lot of enemies, so your Bone Spear is going to do a lot of damage. You want to make sure that your Nayr'S stacks are all up there, that they are really strong. So we have 5 stacks. We have 5 stacks on our Corpse Explosions, so we are dealing the maximum damage that we possibly can. Don't forget also to go for the Bone Armor. You have a Poison Rune there, you also want to be using that one. It's actually the best rune that you can have for the Bone Armor. It also stuns enemies. It's really helpful to give you a little bit more damage mitigation because it stuns, so it helps you survive a little bit more. And it gives you a poison stack as well. Now the unfortunate part is, if you don't have a corpse, you can only get to 4 stacks and not 5. It is once you actually use the corpse, or 1 corpse, that you get the 5th stack with the Corpse Explosion. Now what you could possibly do is go for another poison skill and don't go for the Blood Rush, so you don't have the mobility skill. You will gain 100% increased damage, so if you prefer to have more damage and a little bit less mobility, then you could definitely choose that option. I just like to have the mobility to be able to maybe keep my Massacre bonus up just a little bit longer. maybe dodge something a little bit easier, get out of a sticky situation when you misplaced yourself. But of course, if you have a lot more damage, that's also going to be incredibly useful. So now what you want to do, if you see me clearing out the Cursed Chest event, you really want to make sure that you don't get all the stacks from your Nayr'S when you are doing the Cursed Chest event, okay? So your Corpse Explosion with the Grasp of Essence is gonna deal more than enough damage, as you could have seen. So don't waste your time on trying to get all those bonuses up, because you're gonna one-shot everything anyways just with the Grasp of Essence. So don't waste your time on trying to get your Nayr'S stacks all up. It's gonna take too much time, you're gonna kill less enemies. It's really not gonna be worth it. So like I said, at this point you might still want to be using Bloody Mist as well for the Corpse Explosion. I'm not sure if you actually have to use the Poison Rune, but of course it does give you that extra stack of Nayr'S, so it is more damage. Again, you could make the case that I should have went back to the Cursed Chest, because we cleared it again. We weren't really far away, so it might actually have been better for me to go to the Cursed Chest. But I already recorded this run before somebody in the comments mentioned it, so now I see it, and it's actually not that great, but I can't really do much about it. As you can see, our damage is falling off quite a bit. We're already level 41. We don't have the gear anymore for 41, so that is why we are, you know, starting to die. Sometimes it might actually be better once you have done the Cursed Chest event to go back. You don't really have to keep clearing it. Your times might actually even be better if you don't keep going. And once you've done the Cursed Chest event and you cleared it and your Massacre bonus has run out, just go back, reset, restart the game and just hope for that Cursed Chest again. That might actually be somewhat of a better option. Of course, like in this scenario right here, you get another shrine. With the shadow clones, it might still be worth it to keep going, because you have the shrine and it would actually be helping you killing them right now. But that of course is more of a chance game, because you don't know if there's gonna be another shrine. But in this scenario, it wouldn't have been a bad idea to keep going. In a normal season without the shadow clones, it might be better to just reset the game.
Give it more time.
So you can see that our damage is still pretty nice. It's still going really okay. If you get the level requirement weapon right away, because we have reached level 40, and if you're really lucky and you get a level 31, you're already done. And you would be blasting right now. We only had a level requirement of level 20, which is actually pretty bad. So I really hope in Season 22 you are a little bit more lucky than I am. But you're gonna see once you get that, you're absolutely blasting through the content again. So just a little bit unfortunate, because generally it becomes quite difficult once you reach these types of levels. That is why you're really hoping for that level requirement level, so that you can just clear it out very easily. And that is really unfortunate. I blood rushed in because I saw a corpse, and I was just really hoping that I was able to blow enough up around it so that I would get more corpses, that I would actually get a chain reaction going. But I end up just blowing up the corpse, but not getting another corpse, so then I just die. And there with the laser, I actually end up walking in it on purpose, just because it's just gonna help me out a little bit faster to reset the game. So that was not a stupid mistake. I did it on purpose, I swear. So again, reset, go to the merchants, purchase. Make sure that you are using the two-handed axe for your level, so always check that one out. If for some reason, and I mean it might happen, you don't have any materials left because you didn't get the requirement and you rolled a bunch of times, there are weapons that you always can purchase at the merchants. They're generally not as good as the ones that you will craft, but you can still purchase weapons until you get to that level requirement. So it's basically fine. You really just have to focus on the level requirement 70 and the scythe to upgrade that one in the cube. You just want to make sure that you have enough materials for those. That's just really important. So again, just keep your stacks up. We have all our stacks, we're gonna blood rush in, and we're just gonna explode everything.
Give it more time.
Here we get the Cursed Chest event again, beautiful. So here I always like it to spawn the little guys too, generally in the room with the... and this is really annoying, my Massacre Bone was actually almost dropped there, because sometimes they spawn pretty slowly and you can't actually hit them again. And what I have noticed with the Poison Rune on Corpse Explosion, not the Bloody Mist that you can cast it yourself, it is only close range. And you actually really have to make sure that when you are using your Corpse Explosion, you're close enough so they actually get impacted, so your Massacre bonus doesn't fall off. That's a really important one. I've noticed that's a little bit difficult sometimes to keep that one up. And I was actually talking about something else and I kind of forgot what I was saying. Ah yeah, the little guys that, again, oh, I go for the Cursed Chest. Do I do it? I don't do it. Are you kidding me? Jesus. I actually don't pick it up. Well, I guess I'm trash. That's really bad. Okay, don't do that. Go back, get the Cursed Chest. Jesus. That's not good. I can't believe I don't pick that one up. I mean, come on, bro. What are you doing? But yeah, make sure that on the ceiling there are always going to be some insects. Make sure that you are using, you're walking around to make them spawn. You can kill them very easily because they don't have a lot of health, but they are going to drop corpses, and those corpses can be used for the Cursed Chest event. So now we're level 52, we already have the level 70 weapon, and yeah, our damage is just gonna skyrocket right now. We're gonna create a lot more damage. Alright, so I had to reset the game because I couldn't actually start it. I had a little bug, but we're back. So basically the same thing, just over and over and again. What you might want to do, sometimes they're focusing really hard on damage. What I also like to do if you're going with the merchants, and definitely if you're going for more of like a close range build, we're kind of close ranged as well with the Corpse Explosion because we can't cast it from far away. So we are kind of close range. You want to make sure that your toughness is high enough. So make sure that you buy enough toughness. If you lose some damage but you gain a big toughness boost, make sure to focus on the toughness, not the damage. Your multiplier from Nayr'S and basically any other multiplier that you will get is gonna carry you that multiplier, so you really don't need to put too much damage on your gear to make it work. If you played correctly, you should be able to be just fine with the multipliers alone, because you really want to make sure that you survive, because if you can't survive, your damage means basically nothing. So as you can see, our damage is just way higher now. I should not have dropped the Massacre bonus there, that is my mistake. And yeah, we are just blasting now. This is gonna be super easy until you get to like level 63, and it's gonna start becoming a little bit more difficult again. Another option what you could do is once you get to the somewhat higher levels, 65 plus, everything's gonna be pretty difficult. What you can do is actually just put it on Torment 4 and not keep going on Torment 6. Sometimes it might actually even be more worth it to just lower it a little bit. Also, and I think I'm gonna make that change in a little bit. I'm gonna change the Blood Nova for the Spirit. You're gonna see that in a little bit. I actually think I should have done that way faster. The Spirit deals a lot of damage. It's 4000% weapon damage, which is absolutely huge. With your Nayr'S stacks, is gonna deal an incredible amount of damage. You get that at level 32, I believe, that rune. So you really want to make sure that you use that one and not the Blood Nova. You can also use it at range, which is also a big advantage, because you don't have to be too close. With the Blood Nova, you have to be pretty close to get that hit for your Nayr'S stack. But we'll talk about that in just a little bit once I actually get it on my bar. I think I'm gonna do it in a little bit, because it really helps you with creating that one corpse that you need. There we go. And this is when I change it, I believe. So I go for Bone Spirit Panic Attack. It is a poison skill. It is a very useful. It deals a lot of damage from itself. It has a few stacks. I believe it has 3 stacks, and every stack refreshes every 15 seconds. In Nayr'S, your stack lasts for 15 seconds, so you basically should have it up all the time. It deals a lot of damage, and how you should use it is you should focus a tiny enemy like the insects, for example. You throw it on them. They're generally gonna die if you have 4 or 5 stacks of your Nayr'S up, and they're just gonna absolutely explode. They're then gonna leave a corpse behind, and that corpse can be used with your corpse explosion to create more corpses. And you kind of get a chain reaction that way, and it's really nice.
I tried the adventuring life, didn't care for it. Too much pain, not enough profit.
As you can see there, the Bone Spirit, it just deals a crazy amount of damage. I'll showcase it a few more times. It's actually a really, really strong ability to use. So you're gonna throw it out. It's just gonna blow it up. You get that corpse, and you start exploding. You could also go for the combination of Frailty, the Aura of Frailty, then the I'm thinking Eternal Torment passive and the Spreading Malediction passive. Those work really nice together to create a lot of damage. Basically what it does is when you walk around with your Aura of Frailty, it's gonna curse enemies. The Eternal Torment's gonna make it so that every curse lasts forever on that enemy, and the Spreading Malediction gives you 1% increased damage for every curse that is applied to an enemy. So it works really nice together, gives you a lot of extra damage if you need it, but of course you're gonna be a little bit more squishy because you're not gonna have Last Stand with the 100% increased armor that you will be getting. And you also can't use your Blood Rush then because you're gonna have to put something off your bar. But it is gonna create a lot more damage. And with a lot, I mean a lot more damage. So yeah, I can definitely say the Bone Spirit, once you get it, you should get it. Like, once you have it available to you, you should definitely use it. As you can see, it's just way more useful than the Blood Nova. The Blood Nova was basically just to get the stack, but it had no other function. And here the Spirit is really making us do a lot more damage. Okay, so we're starting to get at the somewhat more harder difficulties. At 63, you might want to drop it a little bit. It's gonna, you know, slow you down, of course. But it sometimes might actually be easier just to go to Torment 5 or Torment 4. You're still gonna gain a lot of AXP. It's gonna be less, of course.
Too many demons out there. Could you do something about that?
You may wonder how I get such fine goods here when we're under siege. Well, keep wondering.
I must wait.
Tried the adventuring life. Didn't
Also, something that I haven't really said in any of the other videos. I already have a video up with all the builds that you will use with the two-handed sights. So if you haven't seen that yet, you really should. It actually just talks about what builds you would use with every sight that you can get, as the name suggests, of course. But those builds are all viable to do your GR20 clear if you want to choose for the seasonal journey. So that's really gonna help you out. Nayr'S is also one of the weapons that can definitely clear a GR20 very easily with no other build. Because you have to keep in mind, we are playing Torment 6. GR20 is only Torment 4. So that's actually gonna be pretty easy to clear.
I understand so much more now.
And of course you will already have 4 of your 6 items from your Hadrig's gift. So you'll already have quite a bit of the set. On the other hand, it's not going to be very useful because you need Simulacrum and the Haunted Visions for it. But I already made a video of that one as well on the channel with my recommendation on if you should go for the seasonal journey or for a Legacy of Dreams build.
I must wait.
I personally think you should go for Legacy of Dreams, but it just really depends on what you want to do. But yeah, I think I've basically said everything. Just really make sure you keep your Nayr'S stacks up. If you have Grasp of Essence, you want to keep those stacks up as much as you possibly can too. You want to focus on Massacre bonus. Definitely open the chests. If you get chests from the Cursed chest event, I never did that. You really should do that if you have the option to and your Massacre bonus is done. Just keep the stacks from Nayr'S up, like I already said. Definitely use Bone Spirit a little bit faster. And my Bone Spirit here is like turning around like a crazy person, like, what? Yeah, so definitely get Bone Spear faster and don't go for the Blood Nova. You can opt for more damage to remove the Blood Rush and go for example, the Skeletal Mage Contagion, or you can go for Blood Nova there if you want to get that extra stack in, but you don't have any mobility then. And for the passives, you can go for Last Stand, Final Service. I don't actually use that here, but you can go for Final Service to have that Sheet Death. You can go for like Last Stand, as I said, Final Service. You can go for Spreading Malediction with the Eternal Torment and the Aura of Frailty, but then again you have to use the Blood Rush for that one to get Aura of Frailty in your skill set. You can go for Fueled by Death. There are quite a lot of good options. Rigor Mortis is a good option for your passives as well. So really have some really nice options there. But we talk about that all in the builds from the two-handed sights, and I have a bunch of other guides for every single weapon. If you haven't seen them yet, I highly suggest that you do. We do this run for every single weapon that you can have, so this is really gonna help you be incredibly prepared for the season when it starts. And yeah, I'm just gonna roll the rest of the clip. I'm gonna get to level 70. I'm gonna show you that it was 46 minutes. But other than that, I'm gonna basically do the same things over and over again. So buy at the merchants and all that stuff. So I just want to thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And I will see you guys in the next one.
To recharge. I must wait longer. Decay and rot. I can't do that. Serve the cycle. Ratna has blessed you. This world can abide you no longer. I must wait. This world can abide you no longer. Not possible. The night embraces you. Give it more time. I am returning to town. That needs to recharge. I'm afraid not.